Before we came to Tulum, I read a lot of conflicting information online about where's best to stay. Some people say you should stay in Tulum Town, others say you should stay by the beach. We just spent the last 2 weeks exploring Tulum, and we stayed in both the town and the beach so that we could decide for ourselves which one we thought was best. So in this video I wanted to share a few of the pros and cons of each location based on our own experiences here in Tulum. So if you're thinking about coming to Tulum and you can't decide where to stay, hopefully this video will help you decide. To give you a bit of context, Tulum is pretty much divided into two sides, Tulum Town and Tulum Beach. The beach is a strip that runs along the coast where you'll find all of the luxury resorts, restaurants and hotels. We're walking down the main high street and there's yoga retreats, juice bars and so many vintage clothing shops. It's already so different to the town. And the town is a more urban area, about 3 miles in from the beach, where most of the locals live. We spent the first part of our trip in the town, which is a great base to explore the surrounding areas. There's great access to public transport, especially the Colectivo, which is a very cheap local bus service that runs along the entire east coast. On one of our days, we took the bus out to the town of Acamel to go snorkeling with turtles. We've just got back from going snorkeling out in Turtle Bay behind me, and we were really lucky because we managed to see 3 turtles, and one of them was a huge female. We've heard that it's a really good place to see turtles, but you're never guaranteed of things like that, so we were really lucky to see them. We also took day trips to see nearby cenotes, including Dos Ojos and the popular Gran Cenote. We read online that you're meant to come quite early to avoid the crowds, which we decided to completely ignore. We also visited Chichen Itza as well. So Chichen Itza is actually the name of this city, and it was built over 1,000 years ago by the Mayans. They constructed this pyramid so that if you clap in this exact spot, the sound reverberates off of all of the steps, and then you hear a bird sound coming back from the top. This is the main reason people stay in the town. It's easy to get around, it's well connected to a lot of the surrounding areas, and it makes a great base for exploring the Yucatan Peninsula. The beach, on the other hand, is far more isolated. You have no choice but to take expensive taxis everywhere. So this is the main high street in Tulum Beach. It runs about 10 kilometers along the coast, and it's where all the main hotels, restaurants and shops are. But the main reason that people stay in the beach is for the beaches. So this is why you stay in Tulum Beach, to be within walking distance of some of the country's most beautiful beaches. This is the public access beach, which, to be honest, is just as good as any of the private beaches. And at the moment, it's completely empty. We spent the second part of our trip here and stayed in a tree house within walking distance of the beach. This is by far the coolest accommodation that we've ever stayed in. Feels like we're right in the middle of the rainforest, even though we're only about 100 meters away from civilization. We also took a trip to Siankan Biosphere Reserve, which is about an hour south along the coast. We managed to see at least 10, if not more, dolphins that were just swimming around in the lagoon in front of us. And as we were moving on to our next location, we managed to spot a turtle swimming around in the water in front of us. So that was amazing to see. Even though it's a bit on the pricey side, I would still recommend doing it if you ever get the chance to come here and you can afford it. So when it comes to price, there's a big difference between the town and the beach. Everything in the beach is pretty much double the price in the town. In the town there are lots of cheap restaurants, bars and food stalls, compared to the beach, which is mostly overpriced restaurants and hotel food. Dinner for 2 people costed us about $25 in the town, compared to about $50 in the beach. On top of that, the conversion rate is really bad in the beach. All of the ATMs will only dispense dollars, but the shops and restaurants give you your change in pesos, with rates as low as 15 to 16 pesos per dollar. In the town it was about 18 per dollar, so that all adds up. Now, on the flip side, the town is not relaxing. It's noisy, there are cars everywhere, and the heat is so intense that just walking down the road can be an ordeal. So when we got to the beach, it was a welcome relief. So we just arrived in Tulum Beach. It's already so different to the town. It's kind of nice to have a little bit of luxury at the end of the trip. It might be more expensive and more isolated, but it's a far more relaxed, laid-back atmosphere. And after spending some time in the town, there was nothing I wanted more than to just relax on the beach. We spent 3 nights there in total, which was probably enough for us. If there were more activities to do nearby, we probably could have stayed longer. But we're not the sort of people to spend every day at the beach doing nothing. So what would I recommend? Well, it depends entirely on what sort of holiday you're looking for. If you want a more affordable and authentic Mexican experience, then stay in the town. But if you're willing to spend a bit more for a more relaxing holiday to unplug from the modern world, then the beach is probably more for you. Or if you want a bit of both, like we did, then just stay in both. But if you're going to do that, I'd recommend starting with the town and then moving to the beach afterwards to unwind. So if you're thinking about coming to Tulum and you're not sure where to stay, hopefully you found this video useful. Like I said, these are just my opinions based on my own experiences here. I'm by no means an expert, and to be honest, we've barely scratched the surface of this area. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. If you're interested in staying in the same accommodation we did, it's based behind Ice Cream Bar, which can get very noisy at night, but we could barely hear it from where we were staying. And I'll leave all the information in the description below.